a bad day in Cleveland. Certainly doesn't stack up to 70 degrees in Tampa, Florida. But we're ready for football. Let's check in along the sideline with Laura Oakman. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Tom. Cleveland has been rocking this week with the return of LeBron James, and Browns fans celebrating a 4-3 record. But while Mike Pettin wants the city to embrace this excitement, he's cautioned his team not to get too far ahead of itself, saying dealing with prosperity is as much an issue as dealing with adversity. We cannot afford to take our foot off the gas. We're still forming our personality. We're just now finding out who we are. Tom.
Laura, thank you. Cleveland won the toss, chose to get the football in the second half. And that one banged through the back of the end zone, and that's where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense will put it in play, led once more by Mike Glennon. Like last year, he began the year as a backup, and like last year, took over as a starter on week 4. He led them to their only win of the year. That was against the Steelers, and a very good mark for Glennon against the AFC North. The AFC North, by the way, is the only division in the NFL where every team has a winning record. Short drop. And Glennon able to get it away just in time before taking a hit from Barkevious Mingo. Up front, the big change is at left tackle. Anthony Collins is out.
Yeah, Anthony Collins is out. O'Neal Cousins is in. And this is a big responsibility. When we talked to Evan Dietrich Smith, he said we need to put it on our shoulders as an offensive line because we have not been getting it done. We need to keep Mike Glennon upright.
So on that note, Glennon has been sacked 5 times in each of the last 2 games. They give it to the one-time Cleveland Brown, and that's Bobby Rainey for a gain of 5. It'll bring up 3rd down and 5. The Browns give up yards, but not a lot of points.
No, they do not, and that's led by the back of Deshaun Gibson, who's leading the NFL currently with 5 interceptions. It's going to be key for them to create turnovers in this game.
Kruger coming off 3 sacks in the tight win against Oakland last Sunday. Glennon escaping trouble will pick up the 1st down and then some as he slides to the 33-yard line. So a rare 3rd down conversion for the Buccaneers, who over the last 2 weeks are only 3 out of 24 trying to convert on 3rd down.
Mike Glennon did a nice job there. You heard him switch that adjustment of the offensive line, slide in that protection left to get him coverage and make sure he gets that protection picked up. But you got to give the credit to the Cleveland Browns secondary for nice coverage on that play.
That is the first 3rd down conversion running the football since Tampa Bay, since week 5 against New Orleans. On 1st down, they'll turn and hand it to Rainey. Cuts into the open field across the 40 and very close to another 1st down, depending on the spot at the 44-yard line. Of course, Rainey was one of the great stories in all the NFL last year. Star-studded career at Western Kentucky. Signed with Baltimore, was on their practice squad, came to Cleveland and played the first 6 games of last year. He only touched the ball 13 times. They waived him, came to Tampa Bay, did not get a carry his first 2 games, then had the breakout game against Oakland where he rushed for 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. He would play quite well for the Buccaneers the rest of the way. 1st down catch by the rookie Mike Evans. He was Johnny Manziel's favorite target the last 3 years at Texas A&M.
It's nice to see the rhythm right now by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They said that they needed to start fast, and importantly for them, on 1st and 2nd down, they need to get 2 to 3 yards a pop because they cannot put themselves in those 3rd and long positions that have been their Achilles heel all year.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 99. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Talked about Kruger, the former Baltimore Raven, had the 3 sacks last week against Oakland. Lovie Smith Out of Big Sandy, Texas. His first year as head coach in Tampa Bay, was out of football last year, 9 years. As head coach of the Chicago Bears, took them to 3 playoffs, including a Super Bowl. Rainey, second and short, converts another third down into Cleveland territory to the 43-yard line.
We talked earlier, Evan Dietrich Smith saying, put it on our shoulders. Right now, they're running the ball, they're protecting them effectively, and this is important for them because in the last 4 games, they've gone scoreless in the first half.
Well, they have been outscored in the opening quarter this year, 72 to 17.
That is not a formula for success.
No. Seventh play of this drive, blitz coming, he gets it away, looking down the sideline. Evans able to haul it in inside the 20, down to the 17. He beat Buster's screen down the sideline.
That's a very nice job by Mike Evans. You know, Buster's screen is going to try to use that sideline to his advantage because of the mismatch. But just look at the size difference. If you put that ball up there, Mike Evans is going to find a way to get it.
Eighth play of this drive, better than 4 minutes. And now in the red zone, the Buccaneers. Corner of the end zone. It looked like the receiver ran out of bounds. That's Vincent Jackson. It's incomplete. Intended for Vincent Jackson. Coverage by Joe Hayden.
Well, if you look at the size advantage here, 6'5", 6'5", versus 5'11" and 5'9". But I will say this, Joe Hayden is a guy that plays bigger than that height, and he's going to be excited and amped up for this game. But the one thing that Joe Hayden has to be careful of, he's leading the NFL with 5 defensive holdings. So that's going to be important to watch to make sure that he doesn't get those and stay on the positive side.
Second down and 10, Rainey. Inside the 15, down to the 13-yard line. So this becomes yet another important third down on this opening possession. A very good drive thus far for the Buccaneers.
Well, let's see what Jim O'Neill and this defense dials up. If you noticed the third down before, they had the double linebackers on both sides of the center, and they dropped out, showing pressure. But let's see if they're going to add it on here in the red zone.
Hey, Bravo! Bravo!
Blitz coming. Glennon protected well. Now has to escape. And he'll throw it away. He had time. But a good job in the secondary by the Browns. And this will force a field goal try.
Well, they brought that blitz. A great secondary coverage. Look at Joe Hayden. You're going to see the crossing route by Safarian Jenkins. They pick that up. This is just a nice job by the coverage of the defensive backs right now.
So on comes a rookie out of Fordham, Patrick Murray. Has hit 7 of 9 so far this year. They'll spot it at the 21. This will be a 31-yard field goal try. Good snap. Good hold, and it's blocked. And the Browns have the football at the 22-yard line. It looked like Billy Wynn, playing for the first time in a month, may have gotten a paw on it. The big fella, number 90, denying the Buccaneers point.
Game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
Very impressive drive for the Buccaneers, but they come away empty. First time in 59 games. The Browns have blocked a field goal. Now Brian Hoyer, the Cleveland native, on first down, throws down the middle and finds Andrew Hawkins up to the 44-yard line. Let's go back to that blocked field goal.
Let's see, right here in the middle of that defensive line, he's going to get that jump. But I'll tell you what, for a big man coming off of that quad injury, that quad looks very nice right now. And to be able to explode off of that and get that block, what a key momentum play for them.
Now, you at 300 plus, did you move like that?
Hey, I was never on the field goal block unit. I was on the field goal protection.
First down carry by Ben Tate. Talked about Brian Hoyer. Grew up down the road in North Olmsted, Ohio. Played high school at one of the great powers in the country, Cleveland St. Ignatius, on there to Michigan State. And you see what he's done playing for his hometown team. Very good record. In fact, overall, the three starts he made last year, he got injured in the third against Buffalo. A 7-3 record as quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Pump fake, and he is smothered by the two-time Pro Bowler, Gerald McCoy.
You're going to watch Gerald McCoy come right off of here. He's going to spike inside on McDonald, who is just in for the first time as a starter. That is not the matchup that you want to have right there solo. That is why he is the most disruptive and highest paid defensive lineman in the NFL.
Signing that contract just this week to stay a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. They drafted him in the first round out of Oklahoma back in 2010. Third and long. Hoyer down the middle. And it is a catch by Travis Benjamin. That's the one thing this Cleveland offense can do, and that's put together big plays.
They are explosive, and they're averaging 13.7 yards per reception. That right there is what they want to start. They may not have Josh Gordon here right now, but they have explosive big plays, and Kyle Shanahan does a great job of finding those mismatches.
At 13.7 yards per completion, that leads all teams in the NFL. Now this is an area of their team that they're really hoping to get cranked back up again, and that is the run game. Those are some of the passing numbers, the fewest number of completions of any offense in football, yet when they throw it and catch it, they're getting big yardage.
They most certainly have, and you've got to give a lot of credit to Brian Hoyer. But Kyle Shanahan is like a mini Mike Martz. His understanding of this offense, his understanding of what each and every one of these wide receivers are able to do capability-wise, he takes advantage of every single one of them.
Miscommunication there. We'll bring up third down and 13. Let's send it back to the studio. Our first game break of the day. Hello, Kurt Menefee.
Hello, Tom Bertman. Big game between Arizona and Dallas. Tony Romo out with injury. And so the Dallas defense stepping up early. Undrafted rookie Tyler Patman picks off Carson Palmer. 58 yards later, the Cowboys are on top. Tom and David.
Well, they have been fired up out in the desert, Phoenix, Arizona, about the start of that Cardinal team. And today catching Dallas without Romo. Seventh play of the drive. Third down and long. Hoyer dumps it off out of the backfield to Ben Tate. And he's to the 31-yard line, far short of a first down. So this will be a long field goal try for Billy Cundiff. He hit a 52-yarder last week, which was his longest field goal, wearing a Browns uniform. Christian Yap will snap it. Spencer Lanning will hold it. Officially from 49 yards away is Cundiff. And it is good, and the Browns have jumped in front. They block a field goal and kick a field goal. Browns off to a 3-0 lead here in the opening quarter. Tampa Bay brought in Trenton Holiday to return kicks and punts a week ago. He lasted all of one game. Got hurt. They turned him loose. And it brought in Marcus Thigpen, number 19, who waits on the kick, and he'll have a chance to return it. From the goal line, Thigpen, first time he's touched it as a Buccaneer, and that's a pretty good return up to the 27-yard line. So Glennon and the Bucs with a good drive their first go-round. Can they turn it into points this time?
This game on Fox is sponsored by Pizza Hut. Find the best deals at pizzahut.com. By the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import. And by Visa Checkout, the easier way to pay online.
Right along the North Coast Harbor, established in 1983. One of the great venues in America, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And they are rocking about maybe 100 yards down the road from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Browns out to a 3-0 lead. Glennon on first down, batted down at the line of scrimmage by Jabal Sheard. A couple of first-year coordinators going toe-to-toe here. Jim O'Neill goes all the way back to their high school days with Mike Pettin. And Marcus Arroyo did not figure to be the play caller this year.
And, you know, when we talked to both of them, Jim O'Neill said what an advantage it was for him as a young guy, as a quality control guy in New York, to be able to sit in the meetings with Rex Ryan and Mike Pettin and really learn from the foundation up.
Jeff Tedford was named the offensive coordinator. And of course, he had to undergo a heart procedure and has now come back to the team, and certainly we wish him well. Undoubtedly watching the game here today, and I mean Arroyo thrown right into the fire.
Yes, he was, and that is not a situation that a quarterback coach in his first year in the NFL has ever really been thrown into, but he said that it is a staff commitment, that they all work together in the offensive scheme. But there's a lot of going on. When you're the offensive coordinator, it's like an air traffic controller out there.
Third down and 10. Browns bring the blitz. Set up the screen. Lots of running room for Bobby Rainey. First down and then some. Into Cleveland territory all the way to the 39-yard line. And boy, you throw that screen against a blitz and there's a whole lot of green.
And that is right, because they said put it on us. You're going to watch Evan Dietrich Smith, number 62, and Logan Mankins come out. Wait till you see this hit that Mankins puts on. Boom! That's the way that you want to start the physical tempo in this football game.
That is a 34-yard gain on the screen to Bobby Rainey. And now Mike James will give him a breather, as they have Luke Stocker at tight end, lined up in the I formation in front of James. He spins out of a 3-yard loss and manages to get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe even pick up a yard.
Gain is 2 yards, second down and 8.
Buccaneers driving 67 yards on 11 plays. Their first possession of the game had the field goal blocked. And now on second down and 8, Glennon looking to the corner and through the hands of the rookie Mike Evans. That back shoulder throw, and that's one where it looked like they could have led him to the end zone.
He had him beat. You're going to see him here at the bottom of the screen, Mike Evans. He's just going to run that fly. He's going to make sure he presses it, gets that stutter step move to make him step up. But if you toss that ball out there, that's one that he knows that he can go up and get.
And that's locked up with a number 1 draft pick. That's Justin Gilbert, the rookie out of Oklahoma State, who's taken his lumps early on.
Well, here comes the dog pound. Of course, 7 false starts and
nearly a completion. Vincent Jackson was looking for a penalty flag, and Gilbert then nearly picked it off.
You see him right out here. He's going to be in that stack trips look. He's going to press it, snap it off back inside. Look at that. It's a ball that usually he catches, and you know that he's going to watch film and be disappointed because he's been that target that catches that football and converts that third down.
A 55-yard try. Murray has hit a 55-yarder already in this his rookie year. In fact, he's 3 of 3 from 50 and beyond. Plenty of leg, it appears, and just short. It looked good coming off the foot and appeared to have died before reaching the crossbar. Trying to blow that thing in between. Coming up just short on the 55-yard try was Murray. So excellent field position Now for the Cleveland Browns with a 3-0 lead, 4:06 to play here in the opening quarter. Terrence West, one of 2 rookie runners in this Cleveland Browns offense. And he's up to the 48-yard line. Brownies began the year 1-2, couple of heartbreaking losses, including the series opener against the Steelers, but 3-1 since, forcing 7 turnovers, and it's their best start since 2007. Mike Pettin, in his first year, 48 years old, grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. His father, a legendary high school football coach, won 4 state championships. And bouncing off tacklers is Terrence West for a first down, and we send it down the road to L.A. to Kurt Menefee for a game break.
All right, we'll go on down to Houston, Texas, where the Texans are behind Philly. Jeremy Maclin, 59-yard reception from Nick Foles, and they take a quick lead in the first quarter, up 7-0. Tom, David, and Laura.
Kurt, thank you very much. 10-yard run by the rookie West. And 2 rookie runners that have accounted for better than 500 rushing yards, although all of that, by and large, was accumulated in the first 5 games of the year. Browns have done nothing running the ball the last 2 weeks. That's Jim Dre, the backup tight end, who starts today in place of Jordan Cameron. And that is a first down to the 25-yard line, a gain of 16.
You're going to see him right here, Jimmy Dre. He's going to come down like they're selling the run, like they're selling the stretch. He's just going to snap it off. See Levante David gets his back turned to him. It's a nice play.
I think we have a challenge to see if that was a completed pass or whether that ball actually hit the ground down around the feet of Jim Dre. You've known Jim Dre a long time.
Yes, I have.
We'll talk more about that when we return. Well, they're taking a look at this reception.
After review, the pass hit the ground and is incomplete.
So no reception.
17 for Cleveland on the 41-yard line. Please set the game clock to 2 minutes, 45 seconds. Tampa Bay is not charged with a timeout.
A successful challenge for Lovie Smith.
Right there, it's clear to see that the ball hit the floor.
So the ball to 41-yard line will be second down and 10 for the Browns. Dangerous throw there by Hoyer, and he's lucky that Alteron Verner's not headed the other way. But you've already talked about Nick McDonald going all the way back to the injury to their Pro Bowl center Alex Mack. They're also without Jordan Cameron at tight end today. That's
where Jimmy Dre steps up, like that catch that he hopefully would have had if it didn't touch the grass there. But Andrew Hawkins, he's accounted for 28% of the team's receptions. He's going to have to step up and have a big game today.
They have this game and 2 more without the services of their Pro Bowl wide receiver, Josh Gordon. Third down and 10. Incomplete with an eye on Hawkins.
It's a big hit by Deshaun Goldson there.
And he can do that to you.
Oh, yeah, that's something that he's been known for. And they need that physical play in this football game.
Oh, boy. Leading there with helmet.
Yep.
Of course, Goldson has taken his fair share of fines, better than $100,000 in his career. Most of that accumulated playing for the San Francisco 49ers, but some of it with Tampa Bay last year. Fair catch at the 7-yard line by Big Penn. 3-0. Cleveland in front. Looked like Deshaun Goldson got away with one on that third down pass attempt to Andrew Hawkins.
We said right away that was a big physical hit, but once we saw that replay, it was a clear helmet-to-helmet hit, and that is usually called for that 15-yard penalty, which would have extended that Cleveland drive.
With the frequency with which we have seen penalties called this year, it is stunning that that call would be missed in a game. A couple of decent drives for the Buccaneers. They have walked away without points. A field goal blocked and a 55-yarder just short. This one begins from inside their own 10, and a good first down run once more by Bobby Rainey. Figures to be the featured back. Without the services are the Buccaneers of Doug Martin once again. He re-injured his ankle last week.
Coming into this game, Rainey's averaging 4.6 yards a carry this year. And that alone right there will keep them out of those third and long situations that they cannot be in on the road here in Cleveland.
Hey, 56! Yeah.
And was that an interception? They are saying no. It looked like Joe Hayden had his first pick of this season. There is a penalty flag in that same area code.
I think he's going to be called because he threw the ball disappointed after the play.
After the play, Glennon defense, number 23, 5-yard penalty, third down.
So rather than 3rd and 6, it now makes it 3rd and 1 after this penalty by Hayden.
We talked about him playing press man, playing physical. You see him jam Vincent Jackson at the line. I want to see a replay of this one more time because let's see. Catch. That looks like that's an interception. See on this side where that elbow? Ah, it's out of bounds.
They run it on 3rd down and a yard. And Rainey with more than enough for a first down. Oftentimes we watch the feet here, like you pointed out, David Deal. Watch the elbow.
See his elbow. Still makes the catch.
And that was a penalty there by Hayden. Slamming the ball, which was called a delay of game. All day to throw it. Catch made by Vincent Jackson. And that is another first down. Buccaneers look pretty crisp here early on offensively, especially compared to what they have done offensively in the first half by and large all year.
Yes, they do. They feel like they're in a good rhythm. You see them running the ball. You see them running the quick goes, the slant routes. You're getting Rainey involved into this game. And what it's doing, it's really settling down this offensive line and letting them get comfortable so they can be an aggressive on those pass protections.
Play action. Glennon steps up, looking down the field. He underthrew the receiver. It's tipped and intercepted by Dante Whitner. Crossing midfield. And the former Ohio State Buckeye spins his way down to the 21-yard line. No penalty flags. It looked like Hayden tipped it into the hands of Dante Whitner.
Vincent Jackson catches the play before, but as a cornerback, you do not have a conscience. You think the next play is the biggest play of the game. You're going to see Vincent Jackson at the top of the screen break it off. You're going to see Mike Evans get into it, but Joe Hayden is able to get that ball, tip it. And coming into this game, they have a +6 turnover ratio. That is the key to success.
Dante Whitner, like Brian Hoyer, another local kid. He played for Ted Ginn Sr. at Glenville High School here in Cleveland, Ohio. 54-yard return by Whitner. And the Browns in business at the 21-yard line.
Back-to-back weeks, big plays by Whitner. The hit on McFadden that created the fumble last week, the turnover.
Take it one way. Hoyer all the time in the world. And look at this. Caught, but slightly overthrown. It's caught by Tate, but there is a penalty flag down as Michael Johnson just leveled Hoyer. Say slightly overthrown because that should have been a touchdown.
There's no foul for ineligible downfield. Second down.
It'll be 1st and goal for the Browns.
Brian Hoyer just took a big hit here, and let's see if it was late. It's close. Got to give him confidence. He's got somebody coming down the barrel, right down his face. He stands in, is confident, and still is able to deliver that football.
Tate down to the 1-yard line. And that's the way the first quarter will come to an end. A couple of missed chances for the Buccaneers. Cleveland knocking on the door after the turnover of a 10-0 lead. Talked about back-to-back weeks, huge plays by the veteran safety Dante Whitner. Cleveland defensively causing 3 turnovers, leading to 17 points a week ago. And now trying to turn the interception into points. Dropped in the backfield for a loss is Ben Tate. We talked about this Cleveland offense, David Deal. Ran the ball so well the first 5 weeks of the year. And it is a run game that has been non-existent since the loss of center Alex Mack the last couple of weeks.
Well, if you think one person on the offensive line can't change everything, you're wrong. When you have a center like Alex Mack and in this zone stretch system, it's all about timing and cohesiveness with the double teams, with the guard, the center, the backside guard. And that takes time, so when you lose a player like that, it's going to affect your run game.
Third down and goal. Hoyer sacked all the way back at the 11-yard line. Jaquez Smith, who has really started to come on the practice squad the last couple of years.
That's just extra effort here. You're going to see him at the top of the screen working against Mitchell Schwartz. Mitchell Schwartz has him locked up. The coverage, Hoyer can't get rid of it. That's one that you have to throw away, or you have to decide and run with it, because when you hold on to the ball down here in the red zone, those are the sacks that you can't give up.
Smith turned loose by both Miami and the Jets. Couple of years on Buffalo's practice squad, and a big sack here. 29-yard field goal try, which is good by Billy Cundiff. That's a big stop right there for the Bucs. Rather than 10-0, it is just 6-0 Cleveland.
This game on Fox is sponsored by Corona, who invites you to find your beach. By the all-new LG G3, the world's first smartphone with laser autofocus. And by Burger King. For a limited time, get 10 chicken nuggets for just $1.49.
That is a must-stop in the West Side Market in Cleveland, over on the corner of West 25th and Lorraine Avenue. 6-0, I beg your pardon. Cleveland in front of Tampa Bay, just underway here in the second quarter. That's a big missed chance right there by the Browns. Now you look at the Buccaneers today, and twice, David Deal, they moved the football pretty well. They had the field goal attempt blocked on their opening possession, and then they just missed a couple of chances.
They most certainly did. That's one right there, Mike Evans, and instead of going for that back shoulder throw, he's going up against the rookie Justin Gilbert. Throw him the deep ball, get him involved, and give him the confidence, because that's a matchup that they're going to come back to.
We mentioned getting off to bad starts. That has been the MO. 27 first-half points all year long. The league average, if you're wondering, is almost 90. Quick slant to Vincent Jackson. He takes a hit from Gibson, but has a first down up to the 31-yard line.
Well, it's been clear as an offense for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get Vincent Jackson involved in this football game. Last week, he only had 1 reception, which hasn't happened to him since September of 2012. You brought him in for his big play capability. Let's take advantage of it, and let's see it today.
Hey, 56. Hey, I'm gone.
Laney has been a very effective runner so far here today, and he continues that trend. That's a gain of almost 8 on first down. Check your calendars, everybody. You'll see tonight is Sunday Fun Day. That means a wild, brand new night of the best comedies on television. It all begins at 7 Eastern, 6 Central tonight on Fox. They called a gain of 7. Rainey, 7 rushes for 36 yards so far today. He'll get it again and again. Good open space in front of him up to the 49-yard line, and that'll be a first down.
It was a nice block by Brandon Myers and Mike Evans coming down in, getting in that off of that motion and setting the edge right there to get Rainey up to that second level.
Hey!
So last week this offense was so ugly. They had 3 first downs on the opening drive, and now the ball is jarred loose. Once more the hit by Dante Whitner. A penalty flag is down on the field. The Browns have recovered the ball, but we wait on the penalty flag. But is that Dante Whitner making another big play?
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense number 92. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Desmond Bryant.
You see Dante Whitner come from the right side of your screen. He does a nice job of timing it up late, getting it so Stocker doesn't see him and can't set the edge because he doesn't get back enough and deep enough on his set. Creates that turnover, which would have been his second. But right there, you're going to see the hands to the face. They had it ruled that if they put it up there and you pull it out, they weren't going to call it. But this year, the minute it touches that face mask, they're throwing that flag. And he got a whole handful of group up in there today and during that one.
Look at 92 here, right there on Cousins. That left hand is up under the face mask of the Tampa Bay left tackle.
You see it clear. You see that head snap back by O'Neal Cousins.
So no turnover. Buccaneers get it back. And inside the 45 goes Rainey. Rainey ran for 144 yards in week 2 after Doug Martin was injured in the season opener. That came against the St. Louis Rams. He has not had a chance to carry the ball more than 11 times in a game since then. He did have 6 catches out of the backfield last week. And now 9 rushes for 49 yards so far here today. And a big run for Rainey. And the former Cleveland Brown chewing it up early on today. He's inside the 25.
Very nice block by Austin Seferian-Jenkins. You're going to see him motion number 87. They slide him over. He hits the hole right away on Carlos Dansby. He's able to cut him down. Rainey's able to get through the block, continue up, and that momentum is taking place, and they're continuing to stretch the field. And that's all you have to do with a back like this. Give him a crease, let him make one cut, and he'll do the rest.
Big numbers for Bobby Rainey. Bucs to throw it on first down. And the pocket finally collapses, and that's that old coverage sack once again right there because Glennon was well protected. Mingo gets credit for the sack.
We said they take accountability as an offensive line. That time they protected. But you're going to see Seferian-Jenkins is on the out route. They got him covered up. Justin Gilbert has it. Joe Hayden on Lewis Murphy has him locked up. But that is one right away as Mike Glennon. Get rid of the football. Get it out of your hands and do not take that sack and the loss of yards.
First sack today. Glennon's been roughed up each of the last 2 weeks. With a delay, Rainey's looking for that seam. Kruger wraps him up, throws him down. Bring a 3rd down and long. We'll call it 9. And now they spot it. It'll actually be 3rd down and 11. On 3rd and 11 this year, or longer, the Buccaneers have not converted a 3rd down this entire season. 0 for 24. Does that change right now?
Look for blitz zero. They've got the entire defense up.
And here
Here
they
it comes.
And Glennon gets it away to the end zone. And that is a touchdown from Mike Evans. He got behind K'Wan Williams and the Buccaneers with a chance to take the lead.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 guys up in the box. They bring the pressure. The offensive line holds up long enough for Glennon to deliver it. Mike Evans is able to come up with it. That was a nice block by Bobby Rainey. Not only is he carrying the ball successfully, stepped up big, gave him enough time for Mike Glennon to deliver that ball and convert to a touchdown.
Going after, and it is good. So he talked about mixed chances for the Buccaneers. Their defense stops inside the 2. They come back the other way. And for his old running mate, Mike Evans doing his Johnny Manziel imitation. Of course, it is so rare in the NFL where a head coach seemingly every day is asked questions about the backup quarterback. But when the Browns drafted Johnny Manziel in the first round, knowing that Hoyer was trying to come back from a serious knee injury, the ACL injury, from a year ago, Mike Pettin continues to answer questions about Johnny Manziel. And, is he going to get a chance to play? This is Marlon Moore out of the end zone. And he is tripped up at the 18-yard line. And, you think about the whole situation here with Hoyer, and you pointed out, David Deal, right away, how he was handled everything so remarkably well. But having said all that, and the Browns off to their best start in 7 years, the bottom line is they drafted Manziel in the first round. How soon does he get a chance to play?
And that's been the big question, is how soon is he going to play? But we shall see. Right now, Hoyer has taken the challenge and he's risen to it. He's 5-1 at home. He's got a 7-3 record as a starter. But moving forward here, the must-win games, the adversity, we're going to see if Johnny Manziel is ever going to get involved based on how he practices during the week.
And that is picked off on first down by Jonathan Banks. So just like that, something Hoyer has not done, and that is turn the ball over. A first down pick, and the Buccaneers have the football at the 10-yard line.
You see at the top of the screen, he's going to run that quick slant in. Banks is able to keep his eyes. If you see Hoyer's eyeing him down, Banks is able to jump it, come up with that interception.
Browns have only turned the football over as a team 5 times all year long. And for Hoyer, just his 3rd interception. Right back into the hands of Rainey. And this time he is snuffed out behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of close to 5 on first down. Good play by Desmond Bryant.
Great play at the point of attack by Desmond Bryant. He was able to create that penetration so Bobby Rainey couldn't bounce it outside, had to force it back in. That's where your entire defense is coming from, and you get a big tackle for a loss.
Already 191 total yards, 84 on the ground, season best in both categories for an opening half for the Buccaneers. Looks like Lovie Smith wanted a timeout.
Charge timeout, Tampa Bay, 30-second timeout.
I want to tie a ribbon around that whole Manziel-Hoyer thing, though, for a second, David Deal. He's a guy who played the NFL for many, many years, an all-pro offensive lineman. You rarely had quarterback controversy there with Eli Manning, but when you have a situation like the Browns are in right now, is it disruptive inside of the locker room itself?
I think that it is, because you hear the fans talking about it, you hear the media talking about it, and that's a question that is going to be asked every single day in the locker room, and it's all based off of Brian Hoyer's performance. And the problem with that is that the stress that it puts on everybody else, because you have to every single day have to answer that question. day in and day out. Let's be honest, it's because it's Johnny Manziel and the attention that he brings to an organization.
Manziel brings so much attention to himself. Glennon, oh boy, into the end zone. It is intercepted and tripped up is Gibson. Glennon turns the football over.
What a great play by Deshaun Gibson. He eyed that ball down the entire time.
He leads the NFL with 6 interceptions and a big one here.
Today's game is sponsored by your next truck, Ford F-150.
First time in Mike Glennon's very young career, only his second season, where he has thrown an interception in the red zone. And Gibson, right place, right time. But more to it than that, as David Deal's going to tell you right after this first down play. Hoyer turned it over a moment ago. Glennon gives it right back to him. And Terrence West with a carry out across the 10 up to the 12-yard line.
When we talked to this defense of the Cleveland Browns, the thing that they said, nobody watches more film than Deshaun Gibson. Look at his eyes. He is staring down right away Mike Glennon's eyes. He's found him, boom. He's able to jump that route and pick off that ball.
Tampa Bay in front, 7:03 to play here in the opening half, and that went nowhere. Akeem Spence levels West in the backfield. And once more, this Cleveland Browns rushing attack is virtually non-existent. They have run it 13 times, and they are averaging barely over 1 yard per carry.
And that is something that you need to do. You've got to win the line of scrimmage. And as an offensive lineman in this scheme, you don't have to blow people off a ball. But what you need to do is you need to front them up, and you need to create those creases where the running back can go inside and outside. Let him do the work for you.
Third down. Hoyer hit as he threw it. A nice play made by Jonathan Banks. So it is 3 and out. Mason Foster hitting Hoyer just as he let it fly.
You see him on the inside of this trip slip. He's able to sit down. Hoyer takes another big hit here.
Marcus Thigpen standing back at his own 45-yard line. Thigpen spent 3 seasons in the Canadian League, but has spent enough time in the NFL to return both a kick and a punt for a touchdown. He will let this one bounce, and it bounces out of bounds. Penalty flag comes down. It's out of bounds at the Cleveland 47-yard line, and again, we wait on the penalty. There's an injured player down on the field.
During the kick, personal foul, illegal blindside block. Receiving team number 37. 15-yard penalty. First down, timeout.
That is Keith Tandy for the infraction. Back in a moment. Johnson Bodymosi, an outstanding special teams performer for the Browns. We're going to show you the hit he took a moment ago. It costs the Buccaneers a personal foul on Keith Tandy. Bucs had the football, the 36-yard line. They pitch it to Rainey. And another big run for Rainey. He's closing in on 100 yards rushing in his first half. Bodymosi is having to leave. Take a look at this hit.
You know, not enough people talk about the impact of players on the special team, but Johnson Bodymosi is third in the NFL since 2012 with 37 special teams tackles. That helmet to helmet, that deserved every ounce of that penalty flag.
Yeah.
Wow, that will also draw a hearty fine.
Yes, it will.
And it should. Rainey, second down at a yard. Turns it into a first down, and we check in for the first time with Joe Klatt back in Los Angeles. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Tom, let's go down to Dallas, where Carson Palmer threads the needle to Jaron Brown. John Brown. Jaron Brown, 13-yard TD catch, his first of the season. 14-10, Cardinals up over Dallas. Back to you, Tom, David, Laura.
Carson Palmer, of course, part of the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show. Interviewed by the Hall of Famer Terry Bradshaw. Of course, Carson Palmer played here in Cleveland many, many times through the years with the Bengals. And that is a reception by Vincent Jackson, going high in the air to get it to the 29-yard line.
He's going one-on-one against Justin Gilbert, their first-round draft pick. Gives him the stutter step, hits him with the fly. Glennon puts that ball at the top shoulder. Can't make that catch, and that's a big one for him. My mistake, that was screen.
Yeah, that's your screen.
No. Go with the air. We're good. 53.
First down. Rainey flush to the outside, tries to cut it back to the inside, wrapped up by Bryant. Ball at the 30-yard line. Buccaneers missing a couple of chances on their first two possessions. They had a field goal block. They had a couple of look-to-be receivers open, getting behind Cleveland defenders. Ball underthrown both times by Glennon. So they come up with a touchdown after a big stop defensively when the Browns had it inside the 5. And that touchdown gave the Buccaneers his current 7-6 lead. Good coverage there by Carlos Dansby. Safarian Jenkins only a 2-yard reception.
Carlos Dansby, the only active player currently in the NFL with 40 career sacks and 10-plus interceptions. And you know, the weird thing about him is he's kind of been a journeyman, but every place he's been unbelievable.
Had a great year, his second go-round with the Cardinals a season ago. Should have gone to the Pro Bowl, did not. And the Cardinals, for a second time, let him go. Third down and 8. Good protection. And now flushed out of the pocket, Glennon. He's going to run it. And is run out of bounds short of a first down by Marquinhos Mingo.
Nice.
Well. Do you think about going, or do you send out the field goal unit?
It looks like they're sending out the field goal unit, but in the last game, you can't handle the aggressiveness, or you can't doubt the aggressiveness of Lovie Smith. He went for it twice on 4th and 1 and 4th and 2. He was able to convert it last week. So in a game like this, where the momentum is going back and forth, you know, I think he's smart in this position. Take the points.
If he can get them. 3-0 for 2. This one from 40 yards out. He's had one blocked and a 55-yarder just short. But this one right down the can. And the Buccaneers stretch their lead to 4. It is 10-6 with 2:25 to play in the opening half. So now Brian Hoyer and the Cleveland offense will get the football back. It has been a slow start for Hoyer, but he's had a handful of those and put together big second half rallies. This was the interception as they turned it right back over to the Buccaneers. Got hit on that third down attempt, their last possession, on a 3-and-out. So now Hoyer will have a chance, 2:25 to play until halftime. Browns have 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem that they're in a groove. They haven't been able to get into an offensive, you know, you talk about Kyle Shanahan, and this offense is all about a tempo, a rhythm, getting in and out of the line of scrimmage, getting to the line of scrimmage and being able to check out of plays. They just had way too many negative plays that they can't get into that tempo that you need to be successful, to get the play action going, to get the run game going, and to open up the shots downfield.
Marlon Moore, second time out of his end zone. This time he's able to bring it out across the 20. Well, one of the reasons the Browns, as you just pointed out, David Deal, were putting up such prolific offensive numbers against very good competition the first 5 games of the year was because they ran the ball so well. They were running it 3rd best in the NFL at nearly 150 yards per game. But now against Jacksonville and Oakland, neither team known as a good run defense team. They've not even reached 70 yards and only 39 a week ago against the Raiders.
They've averaged 2 yards or less per carry.
Easy completion there. And that'll be a gain of 9 on the reception by Tate. That'll take us to the 2-minute warning.
That is the end of the, that is the 2-minute warning.
We invite you to follow your favorite team all season long by going to iTunes.com/NFL. Been a long time since Lovie Smith has carried a lead, or the Buccaneers for that matter, into the locker room at halftime, and we have a ways to go to halftime. The reception by the rookie Taylor Gabriel. The average is almost 20 yards per reception, and that one just about 20 yards on first down.
You can't set that up any better and get the offensive lineman in space, running that quick rocket screen.
And they try to run it, and they go nowhere. 1:30 and counting. The Browns have all 3 timeouts remaining. Four-man rush. Boyer finds the tight end, Gary Barnidge, for a first down to the 37-yard line. Closing in on a minute 10. Sniffed out all the way. That is beautifully done by Major Wright. That'll be a gain of 2, and it'll force Cleveland to call timeout. 54 seconds remain here in the opening half.
Big cleanup here, hit there by Mason Foster. Comes in, another one. That's close. That's close.
Let's quickly check in with Kurt Menefee.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, we'll catch you up on everything happening all around the league here in Week 9, including Alex Smith with a wild and crazy touchdown you've got to see, and A.J. Green returning to the field in Cincinnati. It's all coming up on the Visa Halftime.
Kurt, thank you. That's why this game is so critically important for the Cleveland Browns if they want to be considered contenders in that rugged AFC North. They go to Cincinnati on Thursday night. Boyer sacked all the way back to the 42-yard line. Gerald McCoy was there. So too was Jaquise Smith. And another, they're not taking a timeout. Boy, they are burning a lot of time here. And they have 2 left. This has not been good clock management here. It makes you wonder what in the world they're doing.
Got a 3rd and 14, but wouldn't you take a shot to put yourself in field goal range? I would.
I mean, it says right there, the fans sitting in the stands. And I think everybody sitting here and watching, you had 40 seconds left in the half. A 3rd down and 14. And the Browns let the clock roll all the way down to 15 seconds. And it's not like you have a field goal kicker that is known as having a big leg. Cundiff did it from 52 yards last week, but that's his longest field goal in 3 years.
So that game clock started at 54.
48 seconds, and you had 2 timeouts. Quick slant to Miles Austin. And that is a first down to the 25-yard line.
And he just converted and got the first down.
And they finally get the timeout with 3 seconds remaining. And this crowd is not happy. And to be honest with you, I don't blame
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Look at you held yourself because you were in a long third down, yet you still converted. If you would have taken that timeout, you would have had another shot to go for the end zone and still been in field goal range.
Well, they will send out Cundiff for what will be a 44, we'll call it 43-yard field goal attempt. Spencer Lanning, the holder, sitting right at the 33-yard line. Cundiff perfect today. And now timeout called.
Ice, ice, baby.
Charge timeout. Tampa Bay. 30-second timeout.
I got to ask you, David Deal. I mean, you were down on the field for longer than a decade on a couple of Super Bowl championship teams. I think like probably 70,000 plus in the stadium. I'm just curious as to what might have happened there after that sack.
When you go through 2-minute situations, there's not an unknown. You go through these every single week on Thursday. You talk about it on Saturday, and you do it on Sunday before the game as well. There's no excuse.
Field goal try. And it is good by Billy Cundiff on the final play of the opening half. This is a must-win game for the Browns. If they're trying to establish themselves as contenders, they trail the Bucs 10-9. We're back after this from your local Fox station. 10-9 our halftime score. Tampa Bay, the underdog and leader on the road. Today's excitement is brought to you by Nissan, and certainly an outstanding half of the one-time Cleveland Brown, Bobby Rainey. Rainey this time a year ago, David Deal, was actually wearing a Browns uniform. Good half for him, and a very good half defensively for his teammates, the Buccaneers, against this Cleveland offense.
They've really risen to the challenge. They've been able to create sacks. They've been getting hits on Hoyer. They've been able to just really dictate the line of scrimmage, and that's what's led to the success that they've had in the first quarter. But what we stated earlier in this game, this is a must-win game for the Cleveland Browns. In order for them to be considered a contender and still be in the playoffs race, they've got to win this game to make sure that they don't go into Cincinnati 4-4, and they come in 5-3, building some confidence off of this football game.
Look inside some of the numbers from the opening half, and dominated statistically until you get to the fourth column. The 2 interceptions thrown by Glennon, one a tip ball by Hayden, a big return by Dante Whitner, and then Glennon, the first time in his career, threw an interception inside the red zone.
And that was one that we saw. Tashawn Gibson studying film, eyeing down the quarterback, and able to come up with a big play. But that's where the defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stepped up and made sure that momentum didn't switch sides.
Laura Oakman had a chance to catch up with both coaches, and let's send it downstairs to Laura. Hi, Laura.
Hi, I'm going to start with Mike Pettin because I know you guys were talking a lot about that last minute, that last 54-second sequence. I asked him about that, and he said 3rd and long, we're in that situation. The last thing we wanted to do was give the ball back. The last thing you want to do is turn it over. We wanted to complete that 3rd down. We wanted to go in for a field goal, and we wanted to get the momentum going. He said that's exactly what we were thinking. The big thing for him offensively right now, he said, get the run game going. Everything stems off of that. It's going to make our play action so much better. So for the Browns offensively, that's where they're going to go this 3rd quarter.
All right, Laura, thank you very much. I don't doubt at all what Coach Pettin had to say. It's just that if you can call a timeout before 3rd and long with 7 seconds, why can't you call a timeout, or 15 seconds, why can't you call a timeout with 50 seconds?
It just gives you more time to operate. It gives you more time to think about the call. But also, we saw that they converted a 3rd down. If they would have taken that timeout, they could have spiked the ball, and they would have given another shot down the field. They maybe get a touchdown instead of settling for the field goal.
Back downstairs to Laura Oakman.
All right, here's the Bucs side of things, guys. This is the best half Lovie Smith said they've had all season offensively. We know that since it was the first time they've led, the first touchdown they've scored. But he said we could look so much better if we take advantage of these opportunities, which we're getting. We got to catch the ball, and as does the Browns. He said we want to get the ground game going. That's key. Defensively, he's preaching what he's preached all year to his defense. Takeaways, Tom.
And that they have done so far here today. They've played very, very good defense. Rolling one way, Hoyer, and oh boy, what a hit. And somehow, some way, Andrew Hawkins was able to hang on to the football. But this is a vicious hit delivered by Jonathan Banks.
You're going to see Hawkins just run that dagger right through the middle of the defense on that crossing route. Well, that is not an injury that you can see, and that's not one that you want to have happen to one of your receivers.
And that is out to Ron Werner. I beg your pardon, not Jonathan Banks.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Chevrolet. Find new roads. By Burger King. For a limited time, get 10 chicken nuggets for just $1.49. And by Miller Lite. Back in its original look, it's Miller time.
Can look inside the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Thankfully, Andrew Hawkins up and walking around was able to walk off the field. Also checking on Alteron Werner, who put that hit on Hawkins. And boy, when you go across the middle after you see a couple of teammates get leveled, Taylor Gabriel able to slip into the backside of the secondary, and that's a big gainer of 20.
This rookie is second in the NFL with 19.8 yards per catch. That's an impressive stat for a rookie out of Alkaline Christian.
Weak slot! Weak slot! Weak slot! It's ice slot, fellas! Ice slot! Ice slot!
They'll try the run game again, and that's their best run in a wild and modest albeit, but a gain of 3 on first down. Major right on the tackle.
As we were saying earlier, in this zone scheme, the zone stretch scheme, you don't have to blow people off of the ball, but what you cannot give up is penetration, because in this scheme you always say there is no backside. Everybody's on the front side because this is a one-cut system. So as long as you don't give up that penetration, you give a back a chance to use his vision for the things that you don't see as an offensive lineman.
And picking a little seam and getting inside the 40 is Terrence West. Very close to a first down, needed to get to the 38-yard line. Now, we've seen the Browns do this in the past when they fell behind big at halftime against the Steelers in Week 1. They came out in no huddle. They were able to generate nearly 30 points before losing at the gun.
Because it lets you dictate the tempo. You're on the aggressive, you're on the attack, and you're not worrying about what they're doing. You react to not thinking.
Faking one way, throwing the other way. And the reception made by Jim Dre down to the 12-yard line. And Hoyer trying to hurry it up again.
This is what the play-action cell is all about. You're going to see Jimmy Dre release, snaps it back out offside, is able to catch that ball, and continue to move the chains. That size difference between him and Major Wright, he was able to get it over the shoulder and still come up with that catch at the side.
Into the hands of Gabriel. Boy, that's a nice play made by Banks. Benjamin didn't block him, and he came up to make the tackle.
It's a nice catch by Jimmy Dre right there. You know, it's tough losing a Pro Bowl player like Jordan Cameron, but for him to be able to step up and make a big play in a big situation, that's what you want to see out of your backup tight end.
See Hawkins back in the game. That's a good sign. Top of your screen. On a second down, West. Red head on right in the middle of this Tampa Bay defense at the 10-yard line. It'll bring up third down. The Browns have had one drive in this game stall inside the 5.
From the 9-yard line, third down.
Lavonte David, well, what a player he has become in a short amount of time out of Nebraska.
Leads the NFL with 14 tackles for a loss, and he's had 3 straight games of 14-plus tackles. If you don't consider him a beast, I don't know who you do.
play of the drive on a 3rd and 6. And it's caught by Hawkins, but well short. Well, depending on a spot, but it appeared to be well short of where they needed to be for a first down. And Hawkins limping a little bit as he trots back to the sideline. He was the one that took that big hit from Werner on this drive.
Showing his toughness, getting back there on the football field. I mean, he is such an important piece to this offense, like we stated earlier. He's accounting for 28% of their receptions, and he leads the team in total yards. That's not a guy that you can have out of this football game when you're down right now.
Blown dead before it ever started. This might be a penalty that'll give him 1st and goal.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 93. Half the distance to the goal.
Oh, my goodness.
First down.
You see Mike Pettin smiling, and he should, because this is one that you say is a no-brainer. You're going to use the hard count. You're going to use the snap count to your advantage. You're going to see Bryant take off. Keeps the drive moving. Gets them the 1st down.
Well, they called 93 McCoy, but it looked like 92 Golston. That is the 9th offsides penalty against the Tampa Bay defense this year. 2nd most in the NFL. That is a brutal penalty.
That's just discipline. That's something that you go over each and every week.
So apparently it did not give him enough yards for a 1st down. It is about a half a yard short. So what do you do now if you're Coach Pettin and the Browns?
You go for it. You're down in this game. You go for it. I like it. I like the aggressiveness. I like the call. You need to turn around momentum now. And we said, if you want to win this football game, if you want to prove you're a contender, these are the plays that you need to come up with right now.
Hero Small leading the way for West. It appears as though he has a 1st down. And it is a 1st and goal, Cleveland.
We're going to see a nice surge right there by McDonald, Greco, all of them just pushing that line of scrimmage.
Nobody getting pushed around on 1st and goal. The Browns are averaging less than 2 yards per rushing attempt. Sitting at the 2-yard line. That's where they were stuffed in the opening half. Inside the 3, they could not run it in. Wide open. And that is a touchdown for Terrence West.
Once again, running that play action to its best, making it look and sound like run, getting that defense and everybody slide to the right, getting the linebackers to fill up and gap control, slipping Terrence West out of there, getting a nice touchdown.
Golston the man, although they officially called it on McCoy, but our replay showed you Golston was the one who jumped early. The Browns convert on 4th and a half yard, and on 2nd and goal, 1st touchdown as a receiver for Terrence West, and the Browns lead. First time a Cleveland Browns running back has scored on the receiving end of a touchdown. And a huge penalty against Golston in Tampa Bay on what was to be a field goal try that would have made it 12-10 if it was successful. And now it is 16-10, and Lovie Smith, who is a man who rarely shows a lot of emotion, none too happy.
This game is sponsored by Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network.
Dog pound coming to life. Mike Glennon, for whatever reason, has been a far superior second-half quarterback since taking over as a starter Week 4, including that come-from-behind win in Pittsburgh, than he has been in the opening stand. He'll throw on first down. Vincent Jackson. A catch and a good gain up to the 35-yard line. Brand new this season. Stream live local Sunday afternoon games right on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. You'll be dialed into a good one right now here in Cleveland.
If you notice now, what they've been doing is they've been attacking screen now. If you've seen the last couple throws, they've been staying away from Joe Hayden, and they're going to the opposite side of the field.
Rainey, a very productive first half. His first carry of his second half is a 1-yard loss. And again, there is Dante Whitner.
People say, well, maybe Dante Whitner has lost a step or any of that stuff. His team best 39 total solo stops coming into this game. And his presence in the backfield has allowed Tashawn Gibson to play the way that he's been able to play and be a ball hawker, because he knows he doesn't have to worry about a veteran strong safety like
free play here for Tampa Bay, and it's a handoff to Rainey out across the 40 up to the 42-yard line.
Offside, defense number 99, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Cleveland on defense, second fewest points allowed in the NFL so far this year. Only one more than Kansas City. Last check, the Chiefs had a big lead over the struggling New York Jets.
Jim, 56.
Play action on second down. Glennon gets it away, and that is a reception. Once more to Vincent Jackson, who only had one catch, as David mentioned earlier, for 13 yards in that overtime loss a week ago.
we said, you're going to see Vincent Jackson is continuing to take that inside leverage, using his big body, his big size at 6'5" to keep screen at 5'9", off balance, and forcing him to the boundary. Vincent Jackson is taking advantage of it.
5 catches, 71 yards today for Jackson, and that'll be back on the ground to Rainey. A little pushing and shoving going on.
Second down, 10.
Rainey with 80 rushing yards so far today, including a long of 21.
He's been very impressive today. His patience, allowing the holes to develop and open up. And the minute that he sees them, hitting them and making creases, you got to give him a lot of credit for the way he's come into this game today.
Glennon avoids trouble and delivers a strike. Catch made by Lewis Murphy. First time we've called his name today. Beat Hayden. And we'll see where they mark it on forward progress and whether it's enough for a first down. He looks to be a yard short.
It was nice pocket presence by Glennon. He's able to step up. Murph is able to come back to the ball and able to convert, move forward with this. Now we're at that 3rd and 1, that 3rd and short. Let's see who's going to win the line of scrimmage right now.
This is where they gave it to Mike James a week ago on a big 4th down. And he gets it this time and stuffed behind the line of scrimmage. Sheard and Fua, along with help from Dante Whitner, and Tampa Bay's drive stalls on a 4th down and 1.
Cleveland stems, you're going to see them get into a bear front. That means they're going to cover up the center and both guards to create that pocket presence in the middle and create that penetration up the center to force the ball to bounce. They're able to get in the backfield and stop a huge 3rd and 1.
This Dante Whitner is still a football player. Punt it away, and will come back the other way. And down by the Buccaneers just outside the 10-yard line. Cleveland Glenville High School, where he played for Ted Ginn Sr. Dante Whitner back in his hometown as a Brown, and he's delivering again today. Former #1 pick of the Buffalo Bills out of Ohio State, Dante Whitner played there for 5 years. The last 3 years, he helped lead the 49ers each season to the NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl, and yet they let him get away.
I know, and that was one of the things when, with DeQuell and letting T.J. Ward go, people were really upset in this area. But look at the impact that Carlos Dansby and Whitner has had on this football team and on this defense. They've brought that winning attitude, that atmosphere that, hey, we may be down, but this game's not over. We're going to fight our way out. You've really seen that attack and that approach and that mentality spread amongst the locker room.
They tried to hit the big one right away with Andrew Hawkins on first down the middle of the field, incomplete, so 2nd down and 10. Hawkins took that big hit by Verner on the last possession. Thankfully, was okay. Ball thrown behind Miles Austin, 3rd and 10.
Third down, 10.
Johnny Manziel watching on, 1st-round pick. Obviously, the main reason why we've heard a lot of talk and speculation about this quarterback position. But we shall see moving forward here how the Cleveland Browns finish off this football game and the rest of the season. We shall see him as a quarterback.
Hoyer looking down the field, and now he'll just eat it. Took a hit, and it is 3 and out. After the defense stepped up with a big play by Whitner to stuff him on 3rd and a yard. 3 and out for Hoyers and the Brownies.
Nice stop for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, continuing to press forward. And they're going to come up with some field position now here in the middle of the 3rd quarter. Let's see how they're able to respond. They've gotten groove. They've started to get that tempo. They've gotten Rainey going to the 2nd level. Now let's see if they start being more aggressive, pushing the ball downfield and start taking deep shots.
And nearly blocked. And this possession will start inside Cleveland territory for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after a 33-yard punt. It could have been worse than that. Kyle Shanahan flanked by Brian Hoyer and Johnny Manziel. The numbers on Hoyer: 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Most importantly, his Cleveland Browns have a 16-10 lead, 4:02 to play in the 3rd. And the Buccaneers begin this drive at the Cleveland 45-yard line, and Glennon to throw it on 1st down. Steps up and hit a wide-open Vincent Jackson, though he did not hit Jackson in stride, and that could have been a huge gainer.
That would have been a huge play if he would have hit him in stride. There was all the safeties, all the defensive backs were out. They were all covering on the deep ball. They slid him underneath behind the linebackers. If he would have delivered that ball in stride, he would have easily been inside the 10-yard line.
1 catch last week, 6 this week for Vincent Jackson. And James stumped a moment ago on 3rd down and a yard, is inside the 25. That'll be a gain of 6.
So we're going to go back. You're going to see Vincent Jackson on the outside here. He's going to press. He's going to continue to run it. And he's going to break it off inside. He thinks that he's bumping off to anybody, but look at the way that the wide receivers were able to take that ball and run it downfield, run off all those defensive backs so that he can clear underneath with no coverage. That was allowed him to get open. But if you hit him in stride, like we said, that's a huge play.
Now looking to the end zone. And what a throw and what a catch for a touchdown. 2nd today by the rookie, Mike Evans. That was a beautifully thrown ball by Glennon.
We said earlier, they've changed what they were doing. They were starting to go after a little bit after Joe Hayden, but the 2nd half, they've been going up against screen. They think that size advantage of their wide receivers against him, the 6'5" versus 5'9", Mike Evans got away with a little push there with his hand, but he was able to get that ball from Mike Glennon outside and able to come up with that touchdown. And once again, he does the money Manziel.
Last 2 years, Evans caught 151 passes from Johnny Manziel at A&M. They will look at every scoring play just to make sure, and as they line up for a PAT, that tells you it's been confirmed and it's a touchdown. And now to take the lead with a point after for Patrick Murray.
The previous play is under review.
Oh, they're going to take another look.
We'll get another look at it here. Caught. 1, 2. Was his hand out of bounds? I think that's what they may be looking at. But
I think he dragged the second foot.
I think
Let's
he
watch
dragged
it.
the second
Touch.
foot. 1,
touch,
2.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well, we can check in with our main man, Mike Pereira, former head of NFL officials, who, of course, is part of our telecast each and every week here on Fox. And, well, Mike Pereira, what do you think? Does that look like a touchdown score to you?
Certainly does to me, because you focus on the feet, left, right. He's got control of the ball. The hand hits out of bounds, but both feet coming down first. There you go. With both feet, hand, actually fingers touch out of bounds, but to me, he's completed the catch before that. And most importantly, what's he do? Maintains control.
Yep. But what could be taking this long, do you think, that they might be looking for that perhaps we're missing?
Well, I mean, anytime you, at least when I watch these and they take a long time, you think they might be overturning it and they have to get down all their things they have to say. But
the receiver had firm control and 2 feet down in bounds. Touchdown.
There you have it. Mike, you haven't been wrong since you left. You know what I mean?
You haven't been with me all day today. Yeah. Somebody was wrong earlier. I'm not going to say who it was in one of the games.
I know it wasn't you, though. I know that for sure.
I'm far from perfect.
So now a point after to take the lead. We always thank Mike Pereira, who has an eye on everything going on in every game around the NFL. And right here on Fox to let you know how he sees it. Murray for the lead. And it's good.
Kick is good. Make the score. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 17.
Take a peek ahead to Saturday. The UFC will return to Fox Sports 1. An epic night of fights from Brazil. A light heavyweight showdown. 9th-ranked Shogun Rua. Boy, you better be tough with that name. And Obens St. Preux. That's 10:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 Saturday. And streaming live on Fox Sports Go. So now it is Hoyer's turn to try and answer. David Deal said it at the very beginning. If the Cleveland Browns, who have started this year at 4-3, and everything going on with this franchise, they fired their general manager, they fired their head coach, they brought in a new coach, then brought in a new GM, they draft Johnny Manziel, Hoyer, a local kid who was 3-0 as a starter a year ago after taking over before getting hurt. But if the Browns want to say they belong in the same breath as defending champion Cincinnati, as Baltimore, as Pittsburgh, perennial playoff contender, this is a game they cannot lose. Taylor Gabriel out across the 25 and up to the 30-yard line on the return. Let's go downstairs to Laura.
Tom, you've been setting up this quarterback situation all day, and we know what's going to happen if Brian Hoyer can't move the team down the field. Everyone's going to start clamoring for Johnny. I talked to coaches about Johnny Manziel right now. They're saying right now he's growing. He's learning from his mistakes, asks good football questions, trying to understand coverages and schemes, but they say right now he's reading half the field. He doesn't have the strongest arm. We all know that. So if his first and second reads aren't there, he'll pull it down and run. Take a lot of hits. He's not big, strong, physical. He can't take a lot of hits. They know that, as he's learning especially.
First down, they pitch it to West, and that's a good run. Close to 5 on first down.
Tackle by Spence.
Joe Thomas, the 7-time Pro Bowler, getting up out there, leading the stretch, leading that play to get a nice gain.
You know, you and I were talking, David. I loved your line. You talked about Joe Thomas. We were saying, now that is a #1 draft pick.
Yes, that is a baggage claim draft pick, because you know when he picks up his bags, the minute he came here to Cleveland, he was going to be the cornerstone of your offensive line for the next 10 years.
He has not missed a single snap. Tripping over his own man is Hoyer. Looked like he got tangled up with his fullback here, Small, after the center delivered the ball. So 3rd and 5 has just become 3rd and 12.
Like we said, in this system, it's about the penetration. As long as you're able to body up, front people up, and stay at the line of scrimmage, you can be successful. But if you get penetration and a back doesn't have a cutback lane, or doesn't have that gap to hit at that one seam, that's where you're going to have negative plays, just like that.
Blitz coming. And Hoyer hit as he threw. And that's all on this drive for the Cleveland Browns. Leonard Johnson appeared to be the first Buccaneer there.
That's a great scheme there, because what they're going to do is they're going to blitz Mason Foster, and they're going to bring Daquise Smith around the edge. And what that does is forces Terrence West to come across the protection in front of the face of the quarterback. And that's what causes that confusion and that static and that pressure right at the pocket, so that Hoyer cannot step up and deliver the ball the way he's capable of.
Big pin. And this will be a penalty on the Browns. Looked like Marlon Moore was the first one down the field and interfered with Marcus Thigpen.
Interference with the opportunity to catch a kick. Kicking team number 15. 15-yard penalty, first down.
No-brainer here. So rather than a fair catch, or even after the ball had gone over the head of Thigpen, that ball may have been down inside the 20-yard line. Instead, it's first down Tampa Bay on the 40-yard line. James getting some carries here in the second half, and that'll be a gain of 2. Well, you can really sense the swing in this crowd. I mean, let's face it, you're talking about a franchise that, since they resumed play here in Cleveland, has lost more games than any team in the NFL since 1999. They want to believe they have great football fans in this city. One of the great football cities in America. But here you are trailing a team that has one win all year long. We're closing in on the 4th quarter, and that may be the final play of the 3rd quarter on the completion of Mike Evans. The Cleveland Browns want to run with the big boys. They want to run with the Bengals. They want to run with the Ravens. They want to run with the Steelers. They better find a way to run by the Buccaneers. Fox NFL Sunday continues after a break from your local station. Looked like on that reception, Mike Evans may have tweaked his knee, so he is standing on the sideline on this 3rd down. We begin the 4th quarter with the Buccaneers leading the Browns 17-16, 3rd and 2. Blitz coming, Glennon gets it away, and beautifully defended by the rookie Gilbert. And there is a penalty flag behind the line of scrimmage.
Holding, offense number 66. Penalty decline, 4th down.
It's a big stop by the Cleveland defense.
There's the hold right there. You're going to see the hands outside of the framework, completely tackling them and taking them down against Kirksey, who actually is second in the NFL amongst rookies with 32 tackles coming into this season.
Staring right into the sunshine is Jim Leonard. He's basically their designated fair catcher back there. He's going to let it bounce. And not a good decision by the normally reliable. But you got to wonder if he ever saw the football. Staring straight into the setting sun to the west. Well, for more on Mike Evans, let's check in with Laura.
I'm standing behind him watching him. The good news is no trainers are near him. He's holding his helmet, but he does have a very noticeable limp as he's walking right now over to the bench. Right now, trainers are coming, athletic trainers are coming over to him, but again, nobody has addressed anything.
All right, Laura, thank you. We'll keep an eye on that when the Buccaneers get the football back. Starting for a second straight possession inside their own 10-yard line, the Cleveland offense. Hoyer, penalty flag comes down, took a big hit, and throws it away. Good coverage in the secondary by the Buccaneers.
Holding, offense number 72. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Now Mitchell Schwartz is out there fighting. Hoyer did not get rid of the football because of the coverage on the back end by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're going to see that inside move by Golston, and Mitchell Schwartz is just trying to finish his block. Ends up coming up with a holding call.
And look at this, shaking up on the play, Gerald McCoy, although he appears to be all right. As he fractured his hand very early in this season, and that's a poorly thrown ball behind the intended target, Benjamin. 3rd and 14, 2nd and 14 coming up. And let's check in back in LA with Kurt Menefee.
Well, unlike the Browns, the ground game no trouble for the Eagles today. They're over 150 yards in the fourth quarter. 8-yard touchdown run by Chris Polk has them up by 10 in the fourth quarter as well. Tom, David, and Laura.
All right, Kurt, thank you. 2nd down and 14 inside the 5. Four-man rush out of the backfield and Major right in the open field. Making the tackle on Tate. 3rd down and 16 coming up.
You're backed up like this. This is one where you're either going to run a quick draw or a quick slant just to make sure you do not take that safety and get that ball out of the end zone.
And just as you said, catch made by Miles Austin, and can you believe that? On 3rd down and 16 out across the 27 for a first down.
I'm a former offensive lineman, and I knew the quick slant was coming. So you know as a defensive back, they're coming out, they're backed up, that it's going to be a draw or a quick one because they want to get that ball out of their hands. Great play by Miles Austin to take his big body inside Alteron Werner and convert that into a first down.
Huge play by Cleveland offensively. Cutting it back to the inside is Tate. And that will be a gain of almost 4 on first down.
One thing that has surprised me coming into this game is I know that he's had some issues holding on to the football, but Isaiah Crowell not even being involved into this game plan right now. Pretty much Terrence West taking the bulk of it.
Crowell, an issue with ball security. You know, he had the 11 carries, 77 yards against the Steelers, but he fumbled the ball in that game 3 times. And he has not been a part of the offense at all ever since. Benjamin across midfield to the 48-yard line, a first down for Cleveland.
It's a nice play fake by Hoyer. He's going to be able to sell it. He's going to snap a little jerk, a little hit. But I think the biggest thing on that right there was Travis Benjamin. His double move on that he got everybody to sit there, get their feet planted into ground like they were in quicksand, and was able to convert and turn that one on.
Yeah. Yes, Mitch.
Play action, rolling Hoyer wide open as Gabriel down to the 34-yard line, and another Browns first down.
This is what about play action and about getting into this groove for Brian Hoyer is when you run that zone stretch and you start running it and you start selling it and you're able to get that defensive end on the backside to start playing honest. If he starts running down the line of scrimmage, we're going to play action it. So now what they're going to try doing is start hitting that zone stretch back inside to keep that backside guy honest.
They ran the same play. It's batted into the air and intercepted. It appeared to be the exact same play where they faked the run to the left, came back to the right. Hoyer threw it, and it ends up in the hands as McDougal popped it in the air for Clinton McDonald.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. By Canon and by State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today.
We're in the fourth quarter. And the takeaway on the tip ball by McDougal into the big arms of Clinton McDonald. Now the Buccaneers with a 1-point lead and with the football from their own 39-yard line, and Glennon to throw it down the middle of the field. Looked like Jackson slipped out of his break across the middle. 2nd and 10. Let's go back to the interception.
Yeah, well, they ran this play action bootleg the play before, and Golston got out of line. But this time, he's like, I'm not going to scream down the line of scrimmage like I got beat the last time. This time, I'm going to rush upfield. I'm going to make you plant your feet and throw it. They were able to tip it and create that turnover. It's always said, fool me once, shame on me. Try to fool me twice, shame on you, and we're going to get you.
Yeah, down going.
17-16. And they pitch it to Rainey. And he is wrapped up out the 43-yard line. That'll be a gain of 4, so a 3rd down and 6 upcoming. As Kirksey came down the line to make the tackle, the rookie linebacker out of Iowa. He's had a pretty good year. In every category, Tampa Bay has been much better than they have been in a long time on offense. And defense, for that matter, after a pretty good turnaround last Sunday. Boy, that's a play you have to make if you're the Buccaneers. That is a wide open receiver.
False start. Offense number 75. There is no play. 3rd down.
Well, they'll get another chance at it as Cousins started too early. It's been interesting how Rainey was so active in the first half and yet only 3 carries here in the second half.
They've really come out throwing the ball the second half. And they've taken Vincent Jackson, they've taken Mike Evans, and they've been attacking screen. They tried to stay away from Joe Hayden, and they feel that's the mismatch that they can take advantage of.
3rd and 11. And down goes Glennon in the arms of Kruger. And the Browns have a chance to get the football back.
Paul Kruger has been setting this up on the outside. He's been hitting it outside. This one is going to turn into a bull, and then that inside swim move is able to come up with the sack. They had O'Neal Cousins one-on-one against him. Kruger was able to come up with a big play and turn that ball back so that we'll see if this Cleveland Browns offense can take advantage of another throw.
And they blocked the punt, got a hand on the punt. Flag is down, so there's a lot happening here.
Holding. Offense number 25. Penalties decline. 1st down.
It looked like the linebacker, Craig Robertson, got a hand on the punt by Michael Kanan.
You're going to see him lined up, and they're going to run a twist. 59 is going to pick for him. He's going to make that inside move. So it's a one-on-one. He's going up against Mike James, a smaller guy. After a 5-yard head start, the linebacker's going to win that battle every single time.
A big play on special teams for the Browns, and now Hoyer and
Single
company
54.
in the Tampa Bay 35.
Hey, single 54.
9:42 to play. West wrapped up by Golston. And just no running game again today for the Browns. They are averaging 1.7 yards per carry. 32 rushing yards in 18 rushing plays. Oh, what a block, saving Hoyer's season perhaps. And wide open in the end zone, it is Gabriel. There is a penalty flag down. Terrence West just shot down Levante David. A step away from the quarterback.
Pass, illegal contact. Defense number 31. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
The Browns have taken a lead.
You're going to see Terrence West here come across and just completely clean up Levante David. You're going to see Joe Thomas take Michael Johnson on that inside move that would hopefully clear up space for Levante David. And on that backside, you see Hawkins, Gabriel. Gabriel breaks it off, is able to beat Werner on that backside of that play and score that touchdown.
That is Levante David, who is injured after taking that block. Big hit by Terrence West. We certainly hope David's all right. He is becoming a fabulous player for these Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So while they take a look at Levante, we'll take a break. Touchdown reception by Gabriel. Brownies in front. Career touchdown for the rookie Taylor Gabriel out of Abilene Christian. And now the Browns are going to go for a 2-point conversion. They have tried once to go for 2. There was a good sign, seeing Levante David run around on the sideline. They failed their only other attempt. That was against New Orleans. And they will fail here. Major Wright following the fullback Kiero Small out of the backfield. 22-17. Gabriel celebrates his first career score.
This game is sponsored by the new Samsung Galaxy Note 4. The next big thing is here.
(22-17). Oh, what a huge play this was for the Browns and Terrence West.
Terrence West is able to come off, and we talked about what a beast Levante David is. He's able to set it apart and make sure to make he has that big hit. You're going to see the pocket presence of Hoyer being able to step outside, still deliver that ball and hit it to Gabriel on that touchdown.
They might have something in this Gabriel. He's a college free agent. You mentioned out of Abilene Christian. Had an incredible final 2 years of college. Over 3,000 receiving yards and over 215 receptions spanning his last 3 years. Now when he has his hands on the ball, big things happen.
Brian Hoyer said right away when we started talking about his wide receivers, he said they couldn't believe this guy was a free agent, how polished he was coming in with his route running, his ability to have clean breaks. The thing that they really talked to him about was learning and understanding the offense, which he's been able to pick up.
Well, so goes the season so far for the Buccaneers. The only team to allow a blocked field goal and a blocked punt in the same game. But yet they still have a chance to win this thing. Plenty of time. 1 second short of 9 full minutes. And after the failed 2-point conversion, if they get in the end zone, they have the lead.
Yeah, that's one that you look back at. They're moving the football. They're building the confidence. I think more importantly, we're seeing Brian Hoyer have the composure that he needs to have in the second half of the football game that he didn't really have in the first half.
And Glennon has had a very good second half. He has only misfired on one pass in the second half. Well, they had that block punt. Now he puts it in the hands immediately of Lewis Murphy. Second down coming up. Get your action and thrills on Fox Monday. A day of reckoning. War breaks out on a new Gotham. Then it's a new Sleepy Hollow that's fantastically awesome. Television's favorite duo. Catch both tomorrow, 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox. Mike Evans back in after an injury 2 possessions ago. Looking for Evans. Penalty flag down. Got locked up one-on-one with the other #1 pick, Gilbert. This is going to be against Cleveland and against Gilbert.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, defense number 21, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
You're looking at a size advantage by Mike Evans, rookie versus rookie. Gilbert takes the inside leverage, is trying to press him to the sidelines, using that as another defender, but just that size difference. Mike Evans is able to fight through any of that any defensive back is trying to reroute, trying to get him off of his mark, adjust his footwork. He was able to still come up with that and get that penalty.
First down, Rainey slips back to the inside, met by Mingo and company. Well, that'll be a gain of almost 4 on first down for Rainey, who has averaged almost 5 yards per carry here today. And you see the total yards nearly even, and a scoreboard nearly even.
Look at the top of the screen at Mike Evans. This is who they've been going after. They've gone after screens, so let's see if he goes to the top.
You just called it. That's where they're going, looking for Evans. Well, it's a tough ball to handle, and it's out of bounds. They had Gibson closing fast.
Mike Evans is able to go up and get it, catch it. Let's see those feet. Only one down.
Yeah, we've seen Evans a couple of times. This guy's going to be a player.
He is an impressive player. He talked about being around Vincent Jackson, having a mentor like that, teaching him how to be a professional. He's talked about how important it is to be in an offense like this.
Low dead. And was a timeout called? Yes. By the Buccaneers.
Timeout. Tampa Bay. 30-second timeout.
Well, you know, we've talked so much today about the Cleveland Browns and how important this game is to them. You know, look, the Buccaneers are 1-6. We know that, David. We saw them last week. And it's not the kind of year they envisioned when they brought in Lovie Smith and they doled out all the big money in free agency, especially a quarterback with Josh McCown. But this would be a very important win for them today, not in the same sort of setting as perhaps these Browns in a divisional race, but they need to win and want to win.
They sure do. And they said after the bye week 2 weeks ago that they felt that they've made strides. In order for them to really feel confident behind those strides and what they're doing as a team, it has to come up with a win today.
Glennon rolling, looking, he'll run it. And he is short of a first down, took a big hit. Buccaneers are screaming for a penalty. And he is short of the first down by about 3 yards.
See this hit? It's close, but he has the intent of going out of bounds, but he's not out of bounds.
Right.
So I know that everybody wants to protect the quarterback, but he was still running the ball looking to get that first down.
So the Buccaneers will punt it. Last punt was blocked, you may remember. Good punt here. And Leonard a fair catch at the 19-yard line. opening half. Did some good things, but missed some passes. Threw an interception. Here in the second half, he's only misfired on 5 attempts. Does have 1 interception, but that touchdown a moment ago to Gabriel gave him a lead. And those are the numbers. First half, second half for Hoyer. Backed up Tom Brady for 3 years. Played in 13 games in those 3 years in New England. They let him go. Steelers picked him up, cut him. Arizona picked him up, cut him. Landed in his hometown last year. And wisely staying inbounds there is Terrence West. 9-yard gain. Let's check in with Laura.
Tom, just a quick update. Lavonte David, good news for the Bucs defense. He is back in, but just letting you know he was being evaluated for a knee injury.
All right, Laura, thank you very much. But now David Deal, you get 9 yards on that first down carry. And another mark of a good football team is the ability to put games on ice.
Finish. That's what great quarterbacks are able to do in the NFL. 6:20 left in this game. You're winning 22-17. Get a nice long drive to eat away the clock and to prove that this second half, you're the quarterback of the future of this franchise.
Very tough to tell whether West was able to get there for that first down. Saw William Goldston saying, nope, he didn't do it, and Goldston is right. Third down and less than a yard. And, you talk about quarterbacks getting it done. This is where guys that do what you did for a living have to get it done.
3rd and 1 as an offensive lineman, you say, put the ball behind us, run the football, give us the confidence. We'll see how they come up with this one right now and if they win the line of scrimmage.
Hoyer a first down, it appears.
Into the 31 by the Cleveland Browns.
You're going to see that surge, that push, Greco. You're going to see McDonald. You're going to see Petonio. Just get underneath and just like you're talking about a snowplow, get that leverage and just make sure that you continue to push and press and press and let that quarterback get that yard for the first.
Tampa Bay has 2 timeouts remaining. We're at the 5-minute mark and just nowhere to run. In fact, losing a yard on first down is West. Goldston again there on the tackle.
Goldston and McDonald on the tackle. Second down, 11.
Browns trying to get their 5th win at home this year. They have not had a winning record at home since they resumed play in 1999 here, except for 1 season. That's the good news. The bad news is the second half of the season, those home games are few and far between. Timeout called with 1 second left on the play clock. Week 9 continues later today on CBS, as well as Fox. 49ers divisional game against the Rams. Then tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC. Tomorrow, your old team, the Giants, hosting the Indianapolis Colts. Look at this AFC North. Pittsburgh just destroyed Indianapolis a week ago. The Bengals had that very odd sort of 3-game stretch before riding the ship, beating Baltimore last week, and they are leading Jacksonville today. Only the 3rd time since the merger through the first 8 weeks in a year where everybody in the division has a winning record. Hoyer to Miles Austin, a first down to the 42-yard line. Hoyer threading the needle on that throw. Good coverage by Werner.
You always say make it look and sound like you run when you're running this play action. Look at every single one of those linebackers eat up, get sucked into the line of scrimmage. He's able to hit that ball in stride to Miles Austin and convert for a first down and continue to let the clock tick.
First season with the Browns after 8 years in Dallas for Miles Austin. 300-yard passing day for Hoyer. Pretty nifty run right there by Terrence West on first down, and now the clock very much a factor.
This is a time as an offensive line that you run the ball, control the clock, but more importantly, you try to impose your will in the fourth quarter on the other team.
You saw Wes go to the sideline there. Every week we hear coach speak, when they talk about running backs, this guy just can't do it in pass protection. And you kind of say, well, all right, but he's a pretty good running back. Well, the Browns win this game. Terrence West wins the pass protector of the year if they win. Ben Tate staying on his feet. 45-yard line, third down coming up.
That's a great point, Tom, because, yeah, you can be the most elusive back in the world, but if you cannot be back there and block and you're going to get somebody hurt, especially your quarterback, you're not going to be out on the football field. So as much as it is important to know the running schemes and get your yards, you better know the pass protections. You better know the blitz pickups if you want to be a complete back in this league.
Clock stops 2:47. Fox Sports supports, including David Deal, proud to be part of the Movember Foundation's commitment to changing the face of men's health. Join us in growing and supporting mustaches to raise awareness for issues like prostate and testicular cancers, mental health, visiting moteam.com/Fox-Sports. Third down and 8. Blitz coming. Incomplete. And the Browns will have to punt. The Buccaneers will get one more chance.
Spencer Lanning, the punt formation for the Browns. Marcus Thigpen, deep for Tampa Bay.
It's a nice stop there by Tampa. Being able to mug up those two linebackers in the A-gap. Blitz one, drop the other one back in coverage to make sure that they have that protected on the backside of any crossing routes. We're able to hold them and see they'll have one more chance to see if they can win this football game.
That's the second time they've almost blocked one here today. A juggling act right there by Marcus Thigpen, but able to corral it. So this drive will start at the 23-yard line. We talked so much about Hoyer and all the pressure he's under, knowing Johnny Manziel is there waiting in the wings. Mike Glennon was a guy over the final 8 games of last year that led the Buccaneers to a 4-4 record. Took over week 4 this year. They got the win in Pittsburgh. It's not gone well ever since. And perhaps a chance to save his job for another week.
Yes, he has. Josh McCown has been back healthy, throwing at practice. But they felt coming into this one, they were going to give Glennon the shot to come out and prove the type of quarterback he is, and he's been a better quarterback in every game in the second half.
Wide open down the field, and delivering the strike is Glennon to Evans, and that's to the 45-yard line. And that is Justin Gilbert, the rookie, who is injured along the sideline. There is a penalty flag down on the far side of the field, the same side.
Holding. Defense number 21. Penalties decline. First down.
Insult to injury. The flag on Gilbert.
So we can see at the top of the screen, he's going to act like he's going to block, like they're going to run that little underneath go screen. He releases back out, and Mike Evans is able to come up with a big play, get that ball all the way out to the 40, looks like the 46-yard line currently, and continue to push themselves forward to possibly win this football game.
Justin Gilbert shaken up on that completed pass to Mike Evans. He goes to the sideline. So K'Waun Williams, who's not played a lot today, but he has played a lot this year. But he is a rookie.
See Mike Glennon staring down, hitting Mike Evans on the catch. There's the injury. You see him before he even came down. Gilbert was grabbing at his leg.
22-17 Cleveland. Evans again loses his footing, trying to cut it back upfield, short of a first down by a yard. Have a 2-minute warning, and the Buccaneers have a timeout. Doesn't look like they're in a hurry. In fact, they're not going to run a play before the 2-minute warning. Tampa Bay trying to win it late, as they did against the Steelers. First time all year long, Buccaneers went to halftime with a lead. Browns jumped in front here in the second half. Been a monster day for the talented indeed. The rookie out of A&M, Mike Evans. 7 catches, 124 yards. 2 minutes to go. Cleveland Browns off to their best start in 7 years, trying to get to 5-3 before they go to Cincinnati Thursday night. But can their defense make a play? That's a drop ball by Jackson. At least from here, that looked like that throw was right on the money. We'll see if Hayden got his hand in there.
Yes, it was, with Glennon having people in his face as O'Neal Cousins was getting bull rushed back into him.
That looked like a penalty flag that wasn't thrown. So now 3rd down and a yard. Buccaneers 4 of 11 on 3rd down, 0 for their last 5. Throwing to the corner and too tall. They'll go for it on 4th down. They have no choice at this point. That was K'Wan Williams in coverage. Buccaneers 3 out of 6 on 4th down this year. 4th and 1 has been kind to them. They're a perfect 3 out of 3. Question is, do you run it on 4th down at a yard? You didn't run it on 3rd at a yard.
Or you did not, so let's see if they come back and run it on this one. Let's see if they put it in the hands of their big men up front.
They convert Evans. There is a penalty flag down. Browns are saying this is on Tampa Bay. It is.
I think they're trying to say that Lewis Murphy screened for him too early.
Pass interference. Offense number 13. 10-yard penalty. 4th down.
See Mike Evans right here. Gets through the jam. It's that last push-off is what they called. But it doesn't look like it was past the 5 yards. That's a close call right there.
4th down and 11. They need to get to the 36-yard line. No penalty flags down. Glennon floats it out there, incomplete. And the Browns halt the drive.
O'Neal Cousins actually got away with a false start on that one. They didn't call it. And as they're going with that crossing route, it almost looks like Austin Seferian-Jenkins stopped his route. You see O'Neal Cousins right here at left tackle. He's going to move early before that ball snapped. They don't call it. You see Seferian working through Whitner, trying to look for the ball. Getting held. He looks like he wants to get the holding call there. Ball is out of reach. He cannot catch it. The Cleveland Browns take over the ball and
a lot of pushing and shoving. We're down to the final minute 30. Our game produced by Mark Teitelman today, directed by Greg Scopatoni. Technical producer Bob Muller, our technical director Dane Crawford. The big one Thursday night. Cincinnati at last check was leading in a tight game against Jacksonville. Bengals had that one time. Houston on the road, or at home rather. Then you have Atlanta, Buffalo on the road before Indianapolis. We'll see the Bucs next week. They will host Atlanta. Lovie Smith will go back to Chicago on the 23rd. Our associate director, Yvonne Wagner. Our broadcast associate, Jordan Wolf. Our spotter, Scott Snyder. Statistician, Tom Barbary. Also downstairs on stats, Eric Norton, Mike Eldridge. And our regular producer, Bob Stenner. Certainly our thoughts and prayers go out to him to get well. And hopefully we'll see him back next week. I know you had a chance to visit with a great Hall of Famer, Jim Brown, a very, very close friend of Bob Stenner's. And Jim Brown was asking about Bob today.
Yes, he was. He wanted to wish him well. But what an unbelievable experience to sit there and talk on the sidelines and shake hands with one of the greatest that ever played this football game.
Down to a minute. This is a third down. They'll take a knee once again. We're going to hand it off rather than take a knee. And this is going to leave us with about, 3 seconds left in the game.
Fourth down, 5.
So will it be Mike Glennon next week, or will it be Josh McCown? McCown started practicing at the end of last week. Got in a full week's worth of practice this week. They elected to go with Glennon. So the last couple of times that the Browns were in punt formation, both times they almost had the punt blocked. Now they're going to call a timeout with 4 seconds left in this game. Do you snap the ball and just start running around behind the line of scrimmage, just run backwards?
Take the timeout, take a knee. Yes, you do. Do that, or what they usually do is have them take the snap. They'll run a rollout to the right, let the punter run with the ball. Whatever you do, protect the football, but take every single second of this clock off and win the football game.
Browns are 4 ticks away from going to 5-3 for the first time since 2007. I mean, when's the last meaningful game the Browns played? Once you arrived in the month of November, it has been a long time. And they will play a meaningful game on Thursday night.
Keep the offense out there and Hoyer. Let's see how they do it to take care of the clock here.
Yeah, you're just going to run backwards or just throw it up in the air. And that's the way this one will come to an end. Brian Hoyer, who grew up in North Olmsted, played high school at St. Ignatius. As a starter, he is 8-3. The Browns are 5-3. They win it. We'll be back in a moment.